arming you with ways to save money. So we all love to save on groceries, and chefs know how to stretch the food dollar, but not compromise great taste. So here with his tips, please welcome Chef Devan Rajkumar. And teach us a thing or two, because you cannot waste food in a restaurant. You have to be really good about saving, but you also have to be really good on flavor, or people are not going to come.
Whether you're working in a restaurant or you're catering, if you're a college student, you have to know how to save dollars.
Yes.
We've all seen this value pack of beef that you get in the grocery store.
Yeah.
This here is about 1.3 kilos, so it's close to 3 pounds, about 2.8. And I want to show you my favorite thing to do with ground beef.
Okay,
and
so we're using ground beef as an example for this. Think outside of the box as well, though. If you get like the chicken thighs, I know it's a little bit different than minced meat, but you can get the club pack. The point is cook the whole thing so that you don't do half and the rest of it goes bad.
Exactly. The thought process is if you're going to take something and you're going to cook it and go through all the effort, you might as well spend an extra 10 to 15 minutes and bulk up on that.
Yeah.
Freeze it, and we're going to get into all that in a second.
Okay.
So I'm using my gloves because we want to be as safe as possible. Actually, before I use the gloves, let me get some of the chopping done first.
Sure.
So to make these meatballs, I'm going to show you some pretty cool tricks. The first trick I want to show you is this here. Do you know what this is?
No, it looks like mayo and something.
So this is very close. So this is cream and white bread. Okay?
Cream and white bread?
It's not very close at all. So what this is called a panade.
Okay.
Any restaurant chef, any catering chef, this is something that you learn in culinary school.
Really?
White bread and cream. What this is going to do is it's going to make our meatballs very, very tender. To this, I'm going to grate in garlic. And again, white bread, milk.
I'm still getting over the fact that you said white bread and cream.
White bread and cream, milk.
Okay.
You can use baguette, but I think, bread is something everyone has at home, and milk as well. So we're going to add in a lot of garlic into this mix as well.
Okay.
That goes into there. To this, I'm going to add in some, you can add Parmesan,
Panko?
but a cheaper, no, Parmesan, because cheese in the meatballs is key. Grana Padano is another option, which is cheaper, and that's a good thing to use.
Okay.
Dried herbs, nothing wrong with dried herbs. I like to use both dried and fresh. They'll give you different flavor profiles, but you want beautiful green specks added throughout the meatballs because they're going to look prettier. The reason why I'm making meatballs today is because when you're making meatballs and you freeze them, you can use them for a multitude of different things. So once they come out of the freezer and you defrost them, you can break them down and do bolognese. You can put them into tacos. You can put them into quesadillas. You can put them into dirty rice. You can eat them just as they are. If you're eating a bit clean, you can put them over quinoa. You can put them over brown rice. So there's so many different things that you can do. So we're going to take a good chunk of our meat here, and I'm going to add this.
You're cooking it first, which is why it's not going to go bad. You're going to cook it and you're going to freeze it, which makes a lot of sense.
Well, here's the thing. If you didn't want to cook it first and freeze it, what you would do is you'd place them on a plate into the freezer so they solidify first, and then you put them into a Ziploc bag and label them. Because you don't want to put them soft into the freezer. You want to freeze them in that nice, round, perfect shape.
Yes.
Then you put them into the bag label. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's something that we do in the restaurants or in catering. You don't just throw it into a bag and freeze it. It has to freeze, and then you put it into the bag, or you vac seal it.
Got it.
So we're mixing all this together. Salt and pepper is already in here. So we have the garlic, the cheese, but the key is that panade, okay? You can see it running.
Bread and cream.
Bread and milk. It's a very big French thing, but that's the key. That's when you put the meatball in your mouth, it starts to melt. No matter what you do to your meatball, they might be dense and chewy.
Yeah.
So the key is the panade. It makes it nice and light, okay?
Good.
So we're gonna form meatballs. I already have a bunch done.
Yeah.
And we already have a pan going. Can you add some oil into the pan here? The oil, we'll use this oil here. I'm going to take advantage of you being here because I usually cook by myself. The one without the lid. Okay, we're going to add that there. Then we're just going to add in our meatballs. And the pan's a little bit low, but that's okay.
That one was so nice and hot.
Why don't we add it in there?
One?
Yeah, let's use that one. Go for it. So let's get some oil into that one.
Okay.
It's always important that the pan gets heated up first before you add your oil as well.
That's the sound I wanted.
That's the sound you wanted? Okay, great. So we're going to add our meatballs. You can see how they're nice and bright white because of the cheese and the panade.
Yeah.
That's all flavor. We want big flavor here. Now, the more neutral you keep this filling here, the more you can do with it.
True.
But taking the same filling that I have here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this over here. I'm going to take this exact same filling, and you might think cheese and soy sauce. That's kind of crazy, but it's not crazy.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because I do it and people love it. And I'm cooking on the show, right? So we're going to add some soy sauce into here, not too much. And can you pass the rice wine vinegar and the sesame oil?
There you go.
These are sizzling away.
There you go.
I'm really taking advantage of you today.
That's fine. I'm just standing here. I might as well help.
So a little bit of rice wine vinegar. We're gonna add a little bit of sesame oil.
Yep.
Now we've taken that same mix, and what we've done is we've added some Asian ingredients to it. Now if you wanted to add cinnamon, star anise, Sichuan peppercorn, ginger, scallion, the list goes on, and really this is just a basic recipe. When you go home, I want you to be able to kick this up a notch and do your own thing with it, okay?
So flavor, flavor, flavor. You know, just because you have to eat on a budget doesn't mean that you have to be dealing with bland food. And Dev, you only do food with flavor, like a ton of flavor.
And that's the thing, all those spices that you have up in your cabinet, all those pre-seasoning mixes, use them, bump your flavors.
Yeah.
And like, you know, for families at home, you kind of have those go-to meals.
Yes.
Just start experimenting, and that goes to going to the grocery store too. When you see things on special, you don't know what it is, like buy it. Like how many people have not used parsnip? How many people have not used celery root and things like that? So to form a quick dumpling, I'm just gonna put this sheet down here and I'm gonna wet the outside of it with some water.
I love that you're doing dumplings though, because
Dumplings
this is something that most people wouldn't think to do.
We're gonna take a little bit of the filling here, just goes right into the middle, and now we're just gonna seal the 4 corners. Just like this.
And you make it look so easy.
Well, when you do 5,000 of them, it gets a little bit easier, okay? And then this just goes into our pan, okay? Over here, I have finished meatballs that are already done. What we would do here is we would top this with sauce.
Yep.
Just like that. And then this is how you get the Italian version. But again, you can freeze these and do whatever that you want with them. I'll add this to the meatballs, so these are like dumpling meatballs now. This is gonna sear, and once you sear it on both sides, present it well. Look, we have a beautifully browned golden dumpling that we use with the same mix. And then you can make a quick ponzu, a quick soy sauce with this. But go the extra mile with presentation. Take the cheaper ingredients and present it really well like it's expensive.
Right.
Okay, that's important.
I want you to check back in with me when you have like 3 children running around, and then just be like, are you still into presentation, Chef Dev? Are you? Does it all look beautiful? Are you? No, but I like the fact that you've given us some options that we don't necessarily have in our regular rotation. So very good. You've saved us money, and we'll do a lot more of that throughout the body of the show.